It's Cactus Jack versus Ron Simmons. As Simmons comes in, you can see a little clock above the exit door on the other side of the stage. And it suddenly reminds you that WCW are quite small compared to WWF at this time, where they're in sports stadiums and WCW is in armories and you know, the mecca of Milwaukee. It's just weird to see a clock. It sort of reminded me that this isn't a closed set.
No,
this is a sort of, you know...
It's a sports hall.
Yeah, like a sort of vague sense of elementary school about it. And Cactus Jack, I mean, you know, he's already really great here. He does a move really early on where he gets his head caught in the top two ropes. Again, not something you'd seen, you know, certainly in WCW. We cut to show Junkyard Dog in the crowd wearing his white tux,
yes,
his
please.
red Bowie tie.
Mark, yes, please.
I often think, what are the action figures that haven't been made? You know, what are the ones that have slipped through the cracks?
Junkyard Dog in a suit.
Junkyard Dog at Superbrawl II in white suit and a red bow tie, and then you need it to be detachable.
Yes,
so when he comes in, at the end, and he's got his cummerbund, he takes the shirt off. When he pulls the shirt, literally the buttons go ting 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 ting. It's like a cartoon. Out it comes, and there's that beautiful Junkyard body.
Oh, mate.
Oh,
he looks better than he has looked before, to be honest.
He does. Yeah. I think there was a slight sense of him thinking they seem to be quite about work rate here, and I might be getting a bit old. So I think he's had a bit of time off. Maybe he's got some nagging injuries sorted. He's come back and he's like, one last run. I tell you what, when he does this, it's as good as he's ever looked. Abdullah comes out with a beam on. It's so funny, smiling Abdullah. Out he comes, attacks Ron Simmons really hard, really hits him much too hard. And Junkyard Dog comes out of the crowd and then fights off Abdullah and Cactus Jack. And he does it with real fire. Yeah. What's funny about Junkyard Dog is in the early 80s, he was a massive, massive star, selling out huge stadiums for his matches. He just got old and he didn't really move with the times. He was always a limited wrestler, wonderful on the mic, an incredible connection with the crowd, but his wrestling was always quite basic. As he got older, you know, the mic skills are fewer. The time he's given to get over is less and less and less. He's coasting on his old success. But when he's punching Abdullah and Cactus Jack in this, he looks like the greatest wrestler you've ever seen in your life. He looks absolutely brilliant. Even though he's left on his red bow tie and his red cummerbund looks like a truss, holding him in. Fucking thrilling.
When the crowd are into it, you know what I mean? Like, you know, he's just money. He's just like a pissed off dad, just sorting out a couple of kids who are fighting on his palisading.
He is 1992 Goldberg. Just turning up and going, I'm going to sort out these whippersnappers. Say whippersnappers. Abdullah is like 58 here. It's the last time we're going to see Abdullah in WCW. He sort of begins to fade out on this run. I think they loved Abdullah because he was a proper, genuine, unpredictable monster. But I think there was also a sense of when the wrestling became really important, as it does from this point, Abdullah was just unable to keep up. So I think they were like, maybe it's time he headed off. So off he went to open up his house of ribs and Chinese food and things. Cactus Jack is great. This is a really hard-hitting match. Very, very short. But again, no let-up in pace. And you can really see that they've got something to fight for in all of this, which is the chance of having a bit of bonus pay. Yeah. And everyone just works really, really hard. Such a sensible thing to do.
Abdullah and Cactus, they're like Ross and Rachel from Friends, aren't they? They're sometimes on, sometimes off.
They are. They're on a break, but you never quite know whether it's, you know, as you say. I love them as a unit. I think they're really funny. I think it's just, I mean, I love the whole, as you say, you know, the on and off thing is funny. When he comes down, you're always just like, what's he doing? Is he going to go for Ron Simmons or is he going to go for Cactus Jack? Or is he going to go for both?
Yeah.
Unpredictability is fun.
Because Cactus Jack it's not the classic savage and white Orno, effectively. It's which is unpalatable at the best of times. But Cactus Jack's a bit mad as well.
They're united in being absolutely unfathomable. That they are just sort of like, oh, we're two monsters. Yeah. We are just two monsters. We're bloodthirsty freaks. And we do our thing. You know, I love it. I love it. Abdullah coming down smiling, I loved as well, because I like the fact that for the first time in his career, he's gone, let me try something new. And he comes down. I just loved it because I can't understand what he thinks it's supposed to be doing. Is it supposed to be more frightening? Is it supposed to put us in a false sense of security? Yeah. Is he going, I'm a good guy now? Or is he can't work out what he's doing? And I love it because that is, of course, Abdullah. His mind does not work like yours should. He should always be unknowable and terrifying and strange. Yeah. And that's exactly what he manages here. They did have a series of Ron Simmons and Junkyard Dog versus Cactus Jack and Abdullah matches. I imagine they were 50% hard to watch. And that was when Junkyard Dog and Abdullah would be in. But I would be absolutely happy to put one of those on now and just watch it for 15 beautiful beautiful minutes.
It was great.
Oh,
it really was
so
great.
good. And then we get to our main event,
Yay!
which is WCW champion Lex Luger taking on Sting.
I think when we were watching WrestleMania 33, I was saying that Triple H blows out within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think Luger gets 1 minute in.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
just done.
Yeah,
He's just
Luger
absolutely done.
is basically at a point where he hasn't wrestled for quite a long time.
He hasn't run.
No, he's sick of this.
Yeah.
Is basically
I'm
it.
sick of this.
He gets given that WCW World title 6 months before at Great American Bash,
Right.
which he doesn't get to beat Ric Flair for. And he feels like, oh, this is all going wrong.
Yeah.
And he's not happy. He doesn't really see what's coming up in the future. He's never been a massive fan of wrestling. And basically, he finds a clause in his contract where he goes, I think I've done all the dates I was contracted to this year. And they say, well, what? They go, why don't you come back for some more? And he goes, nope.
Nope. See you later.
We've got a massive show in Japan. You go, I don't want to go to Japan. And so it's all a nightmare. They mention here at the start, I love those bits where you know the story and you can read between the lines with the commentators.
Yeah.
Jesse says, Luger's been relatively inactive the last 30 days. Both men then go on to say that Sting has a definite advantage in this match in all capacity. And Jesse Ventura says, it's all very well being out, but you need to wrestle. And there's loads of hints that they're just going, he's just sat at fucking home.
Yeah.
You know, they hate Luger at this point. Luger is their champion and he doesn't want to do it. And now he's being nothing but a pain. Having to kind of constantly ring him up and say, will you do this? And him going, no, I don't have to. I don't have to do anything for next year.
Yeah.
No. So he has checked out entirely. Yeah. When he's walking down to the ring, he's looking at the floor half the time. Just like, oh, here we go again. You know, he looks around, he's looking at it, and he's not looking at it going, you know, this is a big moment. He's just looking at it like, get this done. Let's get this over with. This is a pay-per-view that people do rate really highly, but it's let down by this main event.
Right.
I'd always thought this was a really bad match, that Luger is out of shape and he just pads around and can't really be bothered. But there are some really good sections in it. There's a nice bit where Luger is just not doing anything and he gets dominated by Sting and Sting does a stinger splash and then Luger just levels him with the clothesline. And it's just like he's sort of gone, right, you've had your bit and now I'm going to kill you. And there are bits like that do work. Coming to it fresh, it's fine. But when you have that thing of just going, where is he? People began to get the impression, even when you watched it on TV, that there was something going on that was weird. When the world champion isn't wrestling on the big shows, you're just like, what's happening? Even as a fan, you begin to know something's going wrong. So when he turns up in this and you're going, he's a bit out of shape, you've sort of got a feeling like you're not being told the whole story. And that's a bit unsettling.
Yeah.
Sting in this as well, he doesn't look elated. You know, he finally wins the belt. He gets it a crossbody, which is exactly the same way as Brian Pillman's beat Jushin Liger at the start.
Right.
Which is bad. Someone should have had a word. But a crossbody is also, oddly, it's not a sort of like, you're not really sticking it in and going, you definitively beat him. That's a high-flying aerial attack that, you know, you tend to get and they kick out just a second too late. Luger doesn't bother on that. He just goes, oh, you can pin me. I'm fine about that. But what you get on this is Sting just sort of looks like, okay, good. Well, that is a relief. That awful impasse that we've had over the last few months, that is over, and now we can actually get on with stuff. And it's the first time, I'd say, in like major American wrestling history, that such a big belt has changed hands, and the person who's won it has actively just sort of gone, okay, good, carry on now. You know, apart from when Lex Luger won it at the Great American Bash, where he had a real look of, right, got it, get it, gone, done. Look, he's going through the motions of holding it up in front of the crowd and going, yay, there we are, yay. He walks down the ramp with no theme music at all. He gets 2/3 down the ramp, he holds it up, the fireworks go off, and then the credits start. And he just carries on walking out. But the credits are too long for the walkout. So you just see him walk out, goes round the back, and he's gone. And then you see everyone just start getting out of their seats and like going home. And it's really like, this is as flat as it gets. WWE, the last shot will be someone holding up the belt. And the fireworks going off and them going, woo! And instead you've got Sting pretty much putting the belt in a plastic bag and just walking out through the back and everybody else just going, all right, I'm just going to tell you what.
Sting going, I mean, one day I'll find a face paint that'll last me the whole match. I mean, it's always just disappears. I don't know where it goes.
Oh, it was disappointing. I enjoyed in the credits, by the way, the credit for motorcycle provided by Harley Davidson.
Nice.
I had to get a little thing.
Lovely.
The other thing I loved about this was you saw so many toy WWF titles in this. They were merchandise that were sold. And obviously the WCW people on the cameras and the director, they had no idea that these weren't theirs. So they continually show them, and it's all these kids holding them up, these WWF titles. I thought they sold a fuck of a lot of those if they're all there. But I just love the fact that WCW are not interested. It's not joined up.
Yeah.
In WWF, if you'd have had a Sting figure, they'd have been like, get that fucking thing off. In WCW, they're like, well, have we sold a load of those? They are really popular. This would be Lex Luger, his final appearance in WCW. He departed the promotion to join Vince McMahon's World Bodybuilding Federation.
Well, I remember
WBF.
When it was in WrestleMania and they did a cross to Lex Luger while he was part of that. He just kind of sat at home in a chair.
It was, yeah.
And that was at WrestleMania, I seem to recall.
That was the WrestleMania that was 2 months after this.
Yeah.
So they wanted to show that they had got him.
Right.
But Luger, I don't think, was interested in wrestling.
Right.
It was never a big passion of his.
No.
He got into it, but he wasn't a fan growing up. He never seemed to be a fan sort of through his career, really. But he did spend 14 months out before he then returned to the WWF as the narcissist, Lex Luger. Of course, by the time you get to 2 years from now, they would be positioning him as the new Hulk Hogan. It just did not take.
Right.
And I think that was partly just because he never really had his heart in it.
I do like the fact that when people go from WWE, WWF to WCW, they can never keep their name, but WCW to WWE, they can always keep their name.
Yes.
Because they're just like...
Yep, that's true.
Because they just don't protect their fucking shit.
No, not one bit.
No.
So that's it, really. I mean, he stops wrestling for a year. Sting is now the champion. Sting doesn't seem that bothered about it. Everyone sort of goes, "Oh, well, that was really enjoyable." Up to I don't know what it was about the end that was funny, but it was definitely funny.
Was that just funny to you?
Yeah, it is a shame that it ended like this. I think certainly in the years before, Luger was really good. In the years after, he would be really good.
Yeah, it's
just at the moment where he was on the top of the tree, he decided, I'm just going to get really big and not do any work. It's just a strange decision to make. Strange man.
Amazing. But a good little pay-per-view. I enjoyed it.
It is good, isn't it? You do realise something like this is timeless. You can just watch a show like this at any point and enjoy it. It's just, a lot of the time now, it's about house style, it's about storyline and things. This is just people who were who had spent 20 years just going all around the country, going, I've got to put on a 15-minute thing that keeps these people in the seats watching.
Yeah.
And you just see that bleeding all the way through. It's I do love this period. I love it more now than I did at the time. At the time, I remember thinking, God, this feels like real sport. And that is less appealing to me than seeing Repo Man, towing away Tito Santana's poo, whatever it would be that week.